I think even though I was stepping out in faith, fear was still a real reality for me. I mean, it's scary sometimes to just be honest with people about what you believe
Yeah.
and what you do. Why can't you ever come to practice on Wednesday? Well, I got this thing with this group of people. Well, it's called church, whatever.
Yeah.
But there is this one scenario with my friend. Actually, I will even say this. I don't even know if we were really friends. He considered us friends. I did not consider us friends, but he was an older classman, an upperclassman, and he was the captain of our football team. He's one of the captains.
Wow.
So I was like a freshman or a sophomore. I just didn't want to even be associated with him. And he was one of those guys that it wasn't like he wasn't like warm and like easy to talk to. Like he'd be the kind of guy like smashing his head against the locker. You know what I'm saying? And people are like, oh yeah, like that's what a football player's done. Yeah, like without his helmet. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like one time, I will never forget this. One time during a practice, the play starts, his helmet falls off, and he still keeps playing.
Oh,
He
man.
tackles this kid, and blood is dripping down his face. He's just licking it up. I'm like, this dude is insane. I'm gonna stand over here. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna get out of his way. And so I didn't really pay much attention to him. When I saw him, I would kind of turn and walk the other way. I didn't really want to be friends with him. But several years later, I was in ministry, at a church, serving, leading, dreaming. And I got a message from him on social media. And the message said, "Can I call you?" And I was like, what? Why would you try to? We haven't talked. Like, we're not,
Yeah.
but he considered us friends. So we get on the phone and we talk. And he just asked me a couple questions. He said, "Peter, can I ask you some questions? What do you do?" I said, "Well, I'm a pastor." He said, "Oh, okay, cool. Have you always believed in Jesus?" And I said, "Yeah, for the most part, I have." He said,
Wow.
"Okay, you knew about Jesus in high school?" I said, "I definitely did." He said, "So why didn't you tell me?"
Oh, man.
He's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "Did you know that my mom and dad were, struggling with their marriage?" I said, "Yep." He said, "Did you know I was doing drugs?" I said, "Yeah, I knew." He said, "I was high every class." I said, "I know." He said, "Did you know I was struggling with an alcohol problem?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Did you know me and my girlfriend go through?" I said, "Yeah, I knew all those things. Kind of everybody knew those things." He said, "So why didn't you help me?"
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I said, "I don't know, man. I'm sorry." And he said, "Because I serve Jesus today, and I know that we're supposed to help lost people. And I know that we're supposed to stand in the gap for people. And I'm serving Jesus today, and it's no thanks to you."
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so it's not like I didn't see him at school. I saw him in the hallways. I had a Bible club. He said, "Didn't you?" And he asked me, he said, "Didn't you have a Bible club? Why didn't you ever invite me?"
Huh.
You know?
Yeah.
And so it's so interesting to be on the other side of this, thinking about that scenario. And this is how he got off the phone with me, because I didn't have anything to say. He said, "Peter, what kind of pastor doesn't share Jesus with their friends?"